So today's video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I shot this wedding completely solo. I delivered an 11-minute highlight film, and they also went with the package to get the speeches and the ceremony in full. It was one of the hardest wedding days that I have done probably so far, because it was 33 degrees, which was just unbearably hot, and I was just sweating throughout the whole day. But regardless of that, I did manage to power through, and the couple were extremely happy with the videos that I did deliver, which was really nice to hear. So let's start off with the prep. So the great thing about this wedding is that everything was at one place. So the bride and groom both got ready at the venue, which was really nice, because obviously I'm shooting this wedding solo, and normally if I'm shooting a wedding solo, I always go to the bride for the bride prep. But luckily, every wedding I've done, I've literally captured the groom prep. So this was really nice because I was able to get that as well, and it just really helps with the story and the getting ready, going up, building up to the day. So that was really nice. But I started off, like I said, with the bride, because obviously she starts to get ready a lot earlier, and I just started off with getting like some establishers of the house where she was getting ready. I was getting some detail shots of like some rings and stuff, and just general getting ready shots from the bride and the groom. They were doing their hair, they were doing their makeup, and I like capturing a lot of sound bites on the day as well using my Sennheiser MKE600. So I was basically shooting just them interacting, laughing. So I was just capturing the day as it is, because my style is very much documentary-esque. I like to capture the day as it is, and I want the couple to relive the day all over again. For the entire pretty much prep and pretty much the whole day, unless I know exactly I'm going to slow it down, I shoot everything in 4K 25p because I want it to feel as real as possible, and I like getting that natural motion blur. I use a C50 as my handheld camera with the 28-70 f2.8, and I rig it up massively with like a V-mount battery. I have my mic on there. I've got a massive 7-inch monitor as well. It just helps it keep it a lot more stable because there's no IBIS in the C50, which I actually do prefer. I'm glad it doesn't have IBIS, because the R6 Mark III, which is my second camera, does have IBIS, and it is horrible. And I actually did pair that up with the 16-28mm f2.8 on the gimbal, my RS4 Mini. That was just pretty much it for the bride prep, just capturing it as it is. I like capturing like some close-up details of the makeup going on. And then after that, I actually got the second photographer who was there getting the groom prep to text us to tell me when he's getting ready, and I started getting some groom prep shots. He was getting ready in a pretty bad room, to be honest. The lighting was awful, but I captured what I could. And luckily with the C50, it has a double base ISO of 6400, so it wasn't too bad in low light scenarios. His mum was there as well, and he had some really nice things to say about his mum in the speeches, so that was really nice to overlay there because his mum was doing his tie and stuff. After that, I did start setting up for the ceremony because the day was going very quick, and it was an outdoor ceremony, which was really nice, and it was one of my first outdoor ceremonies that I have done. So what I started doing, I started setting up my SmallRig Tribex SE tripod, put it at the back of the aisle because that's where I normally keep that, and I have the R6 Mark III with the 7200. And once I had everything there ready, set up, I went back over to the bride because she started getting ready in her dress. So I wanted to get some nice dress shots of her during the prep, and her mum was also putting like a chain, like a bracelet on her, and also the dad's first look was really nice as well to capture. Then we went back over to the ceremony room. That's when I started micing up the groom, getting some little establishing shots of the ceremony just to overlay in the video, and waiting for the bride to come, and then it was officially the ceremony time. So like I said, I had the R6 Mark III with the 7200 on the tripod at the back of the aisle. The camera, obviously I use a C50 handheld, and I use that very run and gun, well not run and gun, but like I use that handheld throughout the whole ceremony because I like to get multiple different angles rather than just 2 tripod shots. I actually just use one mic to capture the vows, and that is just straight onto the groom. I record internally on the Rode Wireless Pros because annoyingly I actually disconnected, like the transmitter and the receiver disconnected from my Rode Wireless Pros from my C50. So when I was actually monitoring the audio with my Sony XM3s, I heard cuts, so I wasn't hearing everything, and it started dropping out, which was really concerning me. But obviously I record internally on these microphones anyway, so I didn't have to worry about that, and it's in 32-bit flow. I actually did forget to press record on the Rode Wireless Pros when I did give the groom his mic, but luckily you can actually press record on the receiver directly from the camera, so it started recording that way, which was really cool. And if you are enjoying this video so far, it would be amazing if you could hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video like this in the future. Even though it was really nice and made the change with it being an outdoor ceremony, and it did look really nice, obviously, it was actually really annoying to edit because the sun kept fluctuating in and out of the clouds, which obviously meant with the tripod at the back of the aisle, it kept like getting darker, and I had to keyframe certain parts for exposure. But it wasn't just exposure as well, because the sun kept going in, it made the tint and the temperature of the clips change. So it would go from really nice, warm, bright day to really dark and like purpley. So I had to change changed the tint keyframed as well, and it was just an absolute nightmare in post to be able to do. For the last final kiss, I decided to go right behind them, and that was actually probably the best final kiss that I've got at a wedding. It looks so nice with the amazing lights in the background. You can see the guests. It just looks so cool, and it's probably my favorite shot of the day, to be honest. I absolutely loved it. And then after that, they finished off with a confetti shot, and obviously because I didn't have my gimbal at the time because it was on the 70-200, I had to just try and walk back and be as stable as I could with the C50. And because I rigged it out and I had the 28-70, which has image stabilization, yes, there's a little bit of up and down movements, but like I said, I think it's fine and it absolutely works. So, and that was pretty much the ceremony done. And then we actually moved on to just candid moments throughout the day while they were getting their group photos taken. And that actually gave me a good time to set up for the speeches as well during that time while I was getting some candids, because the speeches was actually before the wedding breakfast, which I don't really like now because it doesn't actually give me a lot of time to set up for speeches. Didn't actually get loads of candid moments at this point because it was so hot. Everyone was either inside in the aircon, but just like sitting down, and it just looked a little bit dead. And they had garden games, but because again, it was so hot, no one played them. So I don't just shoot everything because I know in my head, I'm not filming this because I'm not going to put this in the edit. So what's the point in filming it? So that's when I did spend the time to start setting up my angles and my tripods and get establishing shots of the speeches room. So once after the family photos was all done, we actually then took them out for some couple portraits, which was really nice. And this is when I actually do change to 4K 50p so I can slow down the footage. There was actually one shot where we got this veil shot, which was really cool. So Ben grabs the veil and then throws it into the air, and then it like floats down in the wind. And I actually used 100p to get that, so some super slow motion in 4K, which was really cool. And then I did the same for him so he can get the shot for photo as well. And then we took him around to multiple different locations. And this is why I love getting the sound bites on the camera throughout the day, because we like to play this little ABC game with them where they actually describe each other from A, B, C. So like beautiful, cute, for example, stuff like that. This game can be so funny if you get the right couple, because what she said to him at the C letter was, yeah, I think you can pretty much guess what she said.
First word that comes into your head, you've got to describe one another. Okay. Okay, go for it, Nikki.
Amazing.
Boobs. You can't say that on camera. All right then, dick.
Another thing with the sound bites that I like to do is, like if you can actually watch this clip here.
You always make me laugh, and even at my worst, you always know how to bring a smile to my face.
Like, it's a nice clip of her like laughing and putting her head into his chest as well. But I like to throw the laughter in there as well. It just really does make, like I said, the film feel real, and that's why I love getting sound bites on the camera. It also just looks so nice for couple portraits anyway, and that's why I love the 28-70 as well, because a lot of people use primes, and for photography, I use primes sometimes as well, but I just find zoom so much more versatile because we only take the couples out within like 10-15 minute sessions while the guests are getting sat down for their wedding breakfast. So we don't have loads of time with them, and we want to go to multiple different locations. So I like getting a 28mm wide shot, then I can quickly zoom into 50mm and get a mid shot. Then I can move forward at a 70mm and then get the same shot, but now at 70mm. So from one little pose, I've got 3 different shots that I can use in 50p, and I can slow them down to make them last double the time. I could get like 5 to 7 shots just from like one little pose in one little location. It's so nice because it is just so light, and especially because I do rig out the C50 quite heavy, having a lighter lens really does just help throughout the whole day. So it was time for speeches, so I started micing everyone up, and what I like to do is mic up, put one mic on the actual microphone, because that's how I get like the bride or the maid of honor's audio as well. But I actually taped this one using my Rode Wireless Pro. I do now have an elastic like microphone sleeve that just slips straight onto the mic, which looks way more professional, so I much recommend you doing that. And yeah, it was a little bit stressful because we just got back from couple portraits, and then I had to go mic everyone up and get my camera set because I had to change lens from 28-70 to 70-200 on the tripod, get my frame, find out who's going first so I can film them. And it was the maid of honor who was at the back of the room, so I had to put my tripod over there. It was quite stressful, and that's why I do like having speeches after the wedding breakfast now, just because it gives me that time to chill, it gives me that time to think and relax and just take my time, and I don't have to rush everything. I had the R6 Mark III with the 28-70 on one tripod, just getting straight onto the bride and groom so I can get their reaction, and then I was like on the other tripod with the 70-200 getting the tight shots of each of the speakers. Once the speeches were done, it was like, I don't know, 4:30, 5 maybe, so it was a really nice time to just sit down, chill. It was like the first time I stopped throughout the whole day, because obviously I'm doing this solo and I'm running from here, there, micing everyone up, getting this, getting that. So it was nice to just sit down, chill for a bit, have some dinner, which was really nice, but it also gives me time to get my drone out to get some nice drone establishing shots of the whole venue, and also my 16 to 28, no, I think it was a 28 to 70 I actually used instead of the 16 to 28 on the gimbal to get some, again, establishing shots of the venue, some nice tight details of the signs. Once I'd done that, like I said, sat down, had some dinner, and just chilled out for a bit because it was so hot and it was so nice to sit down and do nothing for a bit. Also during this time as well, this is where I like to get everything charged. I actually have 3 batteries that I use for the R6 Mark III, which is fine. That lasts me all day. And I have 1 battery for the C50, and that's because, like I said, I rig it out with a V-mount battery. From about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock to about 4:30, 5 o'clock, that is when my V-mount battery dies, and that is amazing because obviously I'm using the C50, which is powering my microphone as well, and it also powers my DesView R7 III 7-inch monitor as well, so I have to worry about powering that monitor separately because my V-mount battery powers it all, and that is when I like to charge it, and I use a fast charger, and literally by the time the next thing starts, the V-mount battery gets back up to 80%, which lasts me for the rest of the day. So that's really cool. I don't have to worry about anything like that, like batteries running out of charge, because during the wedding breakfast when we're eating, that is when I start charging that. But also recently, I wouldn't 100% recommend this because it is stressful, but even though I know it's fine, but because of how expensive SD cards and CF Express cards are now, I have 2 240 gigabyte CF Express cards, 1 for each camera. But this time I brought my laptop with me and I backed up all of my C50 footage to my SSD, and yes, I completely wiped that card as well on the wedding day, which is quite scary, and I'm triple checked that I definitely backed up everything, but I do dual slot recording anyway, so that was absolutely fine because I did have all the footage on my SD card as well, which I then changed out after that time. But just pressing that move to trash button and deleting that card, no matter what, even though you can see it physically on the SSD and you've got it on SD cards as well, it just doesn't get any easier. But regardless, because of how expensive CF Express cards are now, I'd much rather do that than spend another £250 on a stupid 240 gigabyte SD card. Now, even though it's 33 degrees, unfortunately we didn't have a golden hour, but later on in the day we did actually take them out for night portraits, so it was a very late wedding. But regardless, before that we had the first dance and we had the cake cut anyway, and this party was amazing. What I like to do, again, I'll just go handheld 4K 25p 28 to 70 on the C50. It's just my go-to setup, but to be able to light the dance floor, I actually used the newer HB80C, I think it's called, which is an absolute game changer of a light for weddings, because this HB80C has an internal battery which lasts 2 hours, like 50, 60, 70%. I don't even have to worry about it, so I don't have to worry about plugging it into the wall, nothing like that. I just turn it on and it goes, and it's just so nice to not have to worry about plugging in a light to the wall. Like, that internal battery, I didn't think how helpful it would be, and it is so good. I also have, I think it's called the Zhiyun X100 RGB. That's a 100-watt light, but that also has a battery on it as well, so I don't have to plug that in. Unfortunately, the battery is not as good as the HB80C, so normally about 3/4 throughout the dance floor it does die, so I only have 1 light in the end. I thought it looks sick, this dance floor stuff. It looks so cool, and I also like to use a quarter glow mist filter to be able to get that hazy look on the lights when I shoot like into them, so they're backlit with the lights. I just think it looks really cool. It is a little bit too much, and it is very strong, so I think an 1/8 would be a lot better. And I like shooting in 4K 25p because, again, I know how I'm going to edit this, and I know for 100% facts I'm not slowing it down. So why would I shoot in 50p when I want it to be really fast and energetic? So why would I slow that down? Because I want it to be fast, energetic, because that's exactly how it felt on the day for the couples when they are having fun there. So that, again, that's why I like shooting in 25p, because it's very documentary-esque. I want the party to feel energized. I want it to feel fun. I want it to feel fast, and shooting in 25p is the best way to do that. I actually did at one point use the R6 Mark III on the gimbal as well, the 16mm. Even though I hate the IBIS, getting them ultra wide shots on the dance floor, really close up to people as they're dancing, getting that big group, I just think looks really cool. I didn't use it loads, only towards the end. And like I said, because there wasn't any golden hour shots, unfortunately, this time we like to take them out for night portraits. So after everything on the dance floor, we took them out to the actual where the ceremony was, and I brought my HB80C light, and they actually had some really nice fluorescent lights, and I used the HB80C to light them, and I brought the gimbal out with the 28 to 70 on the R6 Mark III to get some gimbal shots of them this time. And this looked really, really cool. They used some bubbles, I think, to like put bubbles in front of the camera, which again looked really, really nice. And yeah, because we didn't have a golden hour, it was nice to get these night portraits out as well, which looked really, really cool and just added to the edit. And they also wanted sparklers. So I finished the video off and we finished the day off with a sparkler shot. And yeah, that was pretty much the day done. A couple of the videos. It was a great day, even though it was 30 degrees. It is hard shooting it solo, but it's very doable. So if this video did help you, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want to see my full video kit, or actually how I record audio in a little bit more depth, then watch one of these two videos up here next, because yeah, that will definitely help you out.